Well, hello world. My name is Jared, and I would like to welcome you to Jared Makes. What I want to do with these videos and this channel is to learn, teach, and make something. I love to learn new art techniques, everything from painting and crafting to woodworking. Then I'd like to pass on what I know and I've learned on to you. And if we can make something cool along the way, that'd be awesome too. Chapter 1. Start things off with a shipping container. I use dollar store foam core board, cardboard from cereal boxes and pasta, corrugated paper I got off of Amazon, some kabob skewers, and a ton of hot glue. With these materials, a few bottles of paint, some paintbrushes, you can make one too. Now with all that out of the way, I'm gonna go make something. The majority of my projects start with a rough layout. I like to make most of my projects out of dollar store foam core board. This is the foam core that has the paper covering and can be pulled off pretty easily. Then I added some banding on the outside and the inside with more foam and some cardboard boxes. The colorful parts are corrugated paper that I got off of Amazon. I started building out the base for the doors, and I put stoppers in so they didn't swing all the way inside. Using a large cut of cardboard, I faced both of the doors to sturdy them up. So as this is something new to me, I didn't film everything, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through what I did do with a smaller piece. Using the dollar store foam core, I peel back some of the paper on both of the sides. Next, when we have the exposed foam, you cut that away and fold the papers back to create this U-shaped channel. Finally, grab some tape and connect the two pieces of paper together. This creates this little tunnel, and you can use any kind of dowel rod you have lying around. Finally, once you have your doors, poke a hole through the bottom and at the top where the doors will be, and glue in at the bottom. Now we go outside for some spray primer. Nothing special here, just something to put down to help the acrylic paint stick to the materials. And unfortunately, another thing I forgot to film, I added some more cardboard and foam and some nice dowel rods on the outside of the doors to make them look more authentic. So here's where I ran into my first problem. Corrugated paper decided it wanted to warp a little bit and bubble up on the top piece. This is an easy fix because it was still a little damp and wet. I just put some heavy weights on top, and by the time it completely dried, it was all nice and neat and flat. After the primer dries, we move on to the base coat. I use two different techniques. One is black acrylic paint and matte Mod Podge. This is a shout out to Jeremy at Black Magic Craft. He makes miniatures for his D&D games. The other is really exciting. It's black acrylic paint. After that coat's dried, we move on to the base coat. I use a nice evergreen acrylic paint, something just easy you can get at the craft store, nothing too fancy. This paint was a little thin, so it did take 2 full coats, and for a project this size, I used a whole bottle. While working on this project, I wanted to brand this container with a company's name, something that'd be grounded in this universe that I'm trying to create. I thought about doing stuff that's already in the universes of Marvel and DC, companies like Wayne Enterprises or Oscorp, stuff like that, but I didn't want to make it any one universe. And I took time to get the stencil right. As you see, it was a very small circle that I was trying to get for my stencil. But with all that hard work, it was the opposite of what I needed. I needed actually what I had cut away. I did the entire stencil freehand. This could be something you easily print off and transfer from printer paper to cardboard. I start prepping the paintbrush by loading it up with some paint and then taking it back off, loading it up, taking it back off. And what I'm trying to do is get the head of the brush to be more exact for using the stencil. And here's a lovely shot of my hand in the way of the project. So again, this is just me learning as I go, and hopefully this will be something that I can do better to help show you guys. So if you want to show someone, you guys can do better. Once again, sorry guys. I put the logo on both sides to help with photography. If you wanted to shoot this one way or the other, you'd still be able to have a logo that could ground you into this universe and make it a little more believable. Once the logo is dried, I used a technique called dry brush to apply a light green over their entire exterior. Dry brush is when you load up your brush with paint and then immediately take it all the way off to a almost dry brush, hence the name. The brush will still have paint on it, and what this does is it allows you to brush on just hitting the high points of your piece. This can be used for wear and tear, aging, highlights. This makes your piece look a little more real, a little more lived in. You can see that it only picked up on the high points of the corrugated paper and the edging of the foam. Now let's add some rust. What this is going to do, I really wanted a grungy, kind of beat up old shipping container you'd see down in the docks. I used a burnt orange color for this, and I dipped my brush into some water to kind of thin out the paint and give it a running effect. Now we get to the good stuff. Every crafter, cosplay maker's best tool, blackwash. Blackwash really helps, again, bring your piece to life. Blackwash is so simple to make. Black paint, water. You'll have to figure out your own combination and your own recipe, but once you do, it's gold. I cover the entire piece with at least one full coat, and then I go back and I hit multiple points over and over again to layer the effect. My final step is I add a dry brushing of silver just on certain wear and tear points where the welds would be, the edges, something that would get brushed up against it multiple times. This helps with the illusion of chipping paint that's been taken down to the base metal. I use silver on this one, but if you're, depending on the project you're doing, yours may need different metals. So silver, bronze, gold, really anything that's going to help sell that this is a piece of metal. And it's been sitting around getting dinged up. I did this on the outside as well as the inside to just give it some character and some wear. Well, everyone, that closes chapter 1. So what do you think? How'd I do? Is there anything you would have done differently? Is there anything you'd like to know more about? Leave a comment down below and let me know. And yeah, I gotta say it. It's YouTube. Click that like button, show me some love, leave a comment down below, share it with your friends. This was something that was new for me, and I absolutely had a blast doing it. I got a lot of projects that I'd like to get done, and I will make sure that each project and videos keep getting better. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you next time in Chapter 2. See ya.